Okay, in today's video we're just going to talk about cleaning the sensor on the Panasonic GH6. But this relates to most cameras really. It'd be the same for my GH5 or really most other kind of mirrorless or DSLR cameras. One thing I have kind of noticed on the GH6 is compared to my GH5, the sensor actually does pick up quite a lot of dust, and I've had to sort of use various methods to just remove the dust from the sensor. And if you're not really sure why that would be an issue, it's really just it's really just the same as getting dirt on your lens. So if you've got specks of dirt on the lens, then you're not always going to, but sometimes you'll pick up kind of bits in any pictures or any video you take. And once they're in there, they're almost impossible to kind of get rid of. You can't really mask them that well unless maybe it's a fixed frame, and you can sort of do a little bit of work to kind of remove that from one section. But it's it's always worth, obviously, every time clean your lenses and have the sensor as clean as you can get it. So that's always one of the first things I will do. To clean your lenses, really all you need is a lens cloth, nothing special. Just use a lens cloth and just kind of get that part clean, and then you've got no issues there. And then beyond that, obviously you've got the back of the lens as well, which can get dusty. So we'll sort of talk about it in a minute, but the sort of second option that I'd use is a kind of a dust blower. But so for the first option, you can kind of see the sensor on my camera. It's not actually too bad. There's a couple of little bits of dust on there, and you probably can't even really see them in the video. I tend to try and keep it quite clean, the sensor on there. Like I say, it's not an easy thing to deal with, sensor dust. So once you've shot a video, so I try and keep the camera as dust free as possible. So the first way we'll talk about, you don't need any additional tools. It's just all part of the camera. So if we jump into the menu, what we can do is jump into the spanner, and then the second spanner with the kind of three dots underneath it. And it's called the Others menu, and right at the bottom where the firmware version and language and everything is, they're like the last options really. You'll see this one called sensor cleaning, and if we jump into that, there's actually a tool within the camera that will kind of blow off and shake off any dust on the sensor, which is really useful. So we can just jump into it. There's just one option, start processing, and we can hit that, and you can hear the sensor just kind of shaking, and all it's done is just kind of try to shake off any dust in the camera, and it just tells us to turn the camera off and then turn the camera back on again. And like I said, there wasn't a great deal of dust on the sensor before, so we probably won't notice much of a difference. There was one main bit on there that I was kind of trying to remove, but it looks like it's knocked off a couple of other bits. So the next thing I would do, I'll put the lens back on just for now. The next thing I would do is use something like this. So I don't know how you pronounce this. I think it's Gyotos. But basically all this is, people call them like a rocket blower, obviously because of the shape of it. It's basically just a dust blower. So what you want to do if you're going to use anything like this, you don't have to use this one. There are all sorts of different ones. I found this one good because compared to any of the other ones I've kind of come across, this actually does offer like a really big blast of air. You don't want to use anything like compressed air or anything like that, because that could damage your sensor or damage components in your camera. So don't do that. Try and just find a decent dust blower like this, and before you kind of use it, obviously the dust blower itself can also get dusty. So just give it like a few squeezes and just make sure there's nothing in it, no dust on it or anything like that. And then what you can do is just take the lens off your camera, and I think the best thing to do for me, I hold the camera so it's sort of facing down like that, and then just blow this into it, and then any bits of dust, rather than going further into the camera, what will happen is they'll just hopefully fall out onto the table. They're not going to just get lodged further into the camera. So if I have a look now, I've kind of just gone round in a circular motion, just kind of blowing anything away, and it looks like now it's actually fully clean. It's removed that bit that I was trying to get rid of, which is good. Sort of beyond that is where it starts to get into slightly nervy territory, or at least for me, I'm kind of I don't really like the idea of having to actually clean the sensor with you can buy sensor cleaning kits that they'll essentially have like a little solution and some swabs, and you just kind of wet the swab a little bit, and you can kind of they're either a stamp or a swab, and you can kind of go across the sensor and clean it. And they do a really good job. I've in the past used them on older cameras, and they can do wonders for a sensor on a camera. But there's a couple of things to sort of take into consideration on cameras like this, because it's got the IBIS. So you kind of need to switch that off and have the camera switched on for a camera like this. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get any decent purchase on the sensor. Each sort of set of these things will have specific instructions, and I think, to be honest, for my money, if it's a fairly new camera like this and you're worried in any way, it's easier just to take it to get serviced. If it's a real problem, if there's a lot of dust showing on the sensor in your images, I would probably take it to get serviced if you're in any way sort of nervy or you don't know how to do it. They make specific kits for sensor cleaning kits for specific cameras. Not really, camera specific. It's more. It's usually more sensor size specific. So MFT, for example, is generally going to be pretty much the same size. So they'll make bits that will fit nicely over that kind of size, so you can kind of put the swab on, and it will fit nicely over that. And obviously a full frame one, some of them won't even fit into this, so you need to make sure that you're getting something that does suit the camera. And like I say, I think if you're in any way worried or sort of not sure about it, it's probably is best to get it serviced. But most of the time for me, if I do the in-camera sensor cleaning and then kind of go with this for a bit, it usually gets it sorted. Even if it's over a couple of goes, it will eventually do it, unless there's anything really bad in there. But I think one of the things is just try to keep at least a lens, a body cap on there, or keep a lens on your camera at all times, and then you shouldn't get into a situation where you get lots of sort of dirt or debris on the camera. I got some dust in there because I was shooting some shots at like a rally, so there was just dry dust in the air everywhere, and I couldn't really avoid it because I needed to change lenses, and I kind of did my best, but it did get into the camera, so I had to kind of blow quite a lot of that back out. But it's hopefully hopefully that's helped. If it has, give the video a like. If you want to see more kind of GH6 content or even camera content, then please subscribe to the channel.